It's time to grow and glow, and I have the guide for you. Happy Monday. How are you guys? Remember, I'm pausing so you can let me know how you are in the comments. How was your week last week, and how did you do with the challenge? Last week, all I wanted you guys to do was just to write your old self, a letter. And I want you guys to let me know how you guys did with that. I know it's easier said than done, so I hope you guys had a time to reflect and actually, recognize the things that you are leaving behind. So, last month we did focus on confidence. This month, I want us to focus on self-love and self-worth. Now we know who this confident person is, and we have found our most confident self. Now we need to know how to love this person and how we can know that we are worthy of any and everything that we want out of this life. Okay? You already know how we start. So let's take a deep breath. And this is our affirmation that we're going to use for this entire week. Listen at this. My love for myself is not based on perfection. It's rooted in truth. I honor who I've been, who I am, and who I'm becoming, and who I'm going into. I do not have to earn what already belongs to me. I'm going to say that one more time because I messed up. My love for myself is not based on perfection. It's rooted in truth. In truth, I honor who I've been, who I am, and who I'm going into. I do not have to earn what already belongs to me. Those are some powerful words, aren't they? I know. When we're coming into this new series of self-love and self-worth, these are, again, tough topics that we're discussing because now we're diving deeper into ourselves and what we need to make sure that we can love ourselves fully and not look for love from anyone else. And that's what I want us to focus on. Now, I absolutely love a definition from a dictionary definition. So I want to let you guys know exactly what self-love is. We're working on self-love, but we need to know exactly what we're working towards and we're working on. So listen at this. Self-love is the intentional practice of honoring, accepting, and nurturing yourself mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. What you mean, babe? What that mean? It means that you are choosing yourself not from a place of ego, but from a place of truth. From a place of truth. And that's what I want us to focus on. When we're talking about self-love, we're talking about things that we want as a person, not things that someone may have told us that we wanted, someone told us that we needed, but stuff that we want for ourselves as a person. I do want to make sure that we know when it comes to self-love, we're talking about how to show up for you, how to give yourself compassion, how to give yourself grace, how to make sure that you're there for yourself like you are there for others. And I want to even put it in perspective even more. If you tell your friends, they don't deserve to be loved like this, they don't deserve to be this, but do you tell yourself the same thing? And that's something that I really want us to grasp and I really want us to think about. Last month, we talked about confidence, and some of the things that are rooted in self-love is also rooted in confidence. And oh shit, the title, I know you've seen the title, it is, what is self-love really? What is it really? We all say, hey, you need to love yourself. You need to do these things. But what are we needed to do? All right, so I want to make sure that I plug that in there. This is something that I want us to actually take heed to, and I want us to focus on this as well, that when no one else is there for us to show us self-love, we have to make sure that we have compassion, boundaries, care, and accountability for us when it comes to loving us. And I want to make sure that we are taking heed to that. Because let's be honest, a lot of us were not taught what self-love is or how to love ourselves. Based it on how other people were treated, and we figured that was self-love. When I say other people I treated, let me just talk about this. We were taught self-love by the action of people in our lives. What you mean, Faith? I'm gonna tell you what I mean. We learn from watching people, from how they treated themselves and from how they treated us. And we based our self-love off of that. Because when you're younger and things happen and you see how others love themselves, that's what you model a lot of how you're feeling because that's what you see. Because you don't know anything else. But we are not doing that. We are actually focused on what we want right now as an adult, if you're an adult, as a teenager, if you're a teenager, just as a person, without having or looking at things that happened to us in the past or things that we seen other people do for themselves. Because just because someone else did something for themselves and they treated themselves another way, that's not how we're supposed to treat ourselves. We are different from them. Even though we may have learned from them, they taught us, we're still different from them. So they can do things, but those things cannot be for us. And I want us to make sure that we're understanding that. We assume that's what love or that's what self-love is supposed to look like for us. But what does assume mean? It makes the ass out of you and me. So you need to stop assuming. You need to know and you need to find out exactly what you need as a person. I want you to think about that. So here's the thing. And sometimes how someone treated us, it wasn't always healthy. And we have to understand that. Sometimes it was out of control, survival, or even trauma. Because we based our self-love on how people treated us and we feel like that's what we deserve. And that's not the definition of self-love. Remember, self-love is an intentional practice. So that means that you're doing this willingly because you want to find out what it feels like and what it is to love yourself. So that's something that you need to realize. Now look, just because someone accepts scraps for themselves doesn't mean that's what you're worth. Let me say that again. Just because you're accepting scraps for someone is accepting scraps for themselves, that doesn't mean that's what you were. And I'm saying that because if you see somebody accept scraps and you're like, oh shit, well they accepted that, so I should accept that too. No. Because that's diminishing your self-worth and that's also diminishing the love that you have for yourself. And you have to make sure that you are realizing that. Now, self-love is choosing to stop repeating cycles because they're familiar. And sometimes it's redefining love on your own terms. So we have to break out of the cycles of things that we used to do in the past, just like we talked about last week. We're not working on the past version of us. We're working on this person right now because we're working on becoming the best version of us. I know that this is a hard topic, and I know that sometimes you can't do it alone, and sometimes you do need help. So as you all know, I am a life coach, and I am here to help you guys and to reach that next step and exactly what you want to do in your life. So if self-love is something that you're dealing with, remember, come talk to me. Hold up, I got a card for you too. Look. All you gotta do, put a QR code or you can zoom into it and it'll take you literally straight to my information. So if this is something that you're struggling with and this is something that you need, remember, I created this safe, affirming space for anyone. And I want to make sure that you guys take advantage of that. So right now, when we're talking about self-love and it's hitting a nerve for you, and you may not know exactly what you need to do or what you need to work on for yourself, let's talk about it. Let's work through it together so I can help you become the best version of you. Okay? And I should have started with this earlier, is that if you want to work on your self-love, you have to have the desire. If you don't have a desire, how are you going to think that you are going to fix something if you do not have a desire to fix it? Yes, you're watching, we're talking right now, but after you watch and talk, are you actually taking action and doing what you need to do to make sure that you can love yourself fully like you need to be loved? So I want to make sure that you have the desire to find how to love yourself and the tools you need to love yourself. Now look, I do want to go back into the self-love and how love should be. Because when it comes to loving yourself, your love should be customized. Customized to exactly what you need and what your peace is and exactly what your healing is. It's not for somebody else, but it's for you. So those are things that you need to look at within yourself to see if that works for you. All right. So now we talking about self-love and what self-love is and how self-love is perceived to us. Now I'm gonna give you 5 ways on how you can start loving yourself. All right. Number one, unfollow your shoulds. What you mean, babe? You need to start paying attention to the things you only did because you thought you should do them. Let me give you a few examples of what I mean. I should be further by now. I should keep quiet and I should sell. You need to unfollow all of those because remember, you are right where you are in your life for a reason, for a season. You may not know what it is right now, but you'll figure it out and you'll find out. So you have to make sure that you are grateful for where you are at this time because you're not going to be here forever. Now I focus what I just said on the I should be further by now. You don't know, you may had a vision for your life, but that may have not been what your life is supposed to be. And that is okay because you have to follow every single thing that's rooted in guilt, fear, or comparison. And when it comes to you should be further by now, that's powered by comparison because you're seeing other people doing whatever they're doing and you're not doing what they're doing. So you feel like, shit, what the fuck is going on? I should be further by now. And you have to stop doing that. All right. Now, number two. Number two. Actually, before we go on to number two, I also want to say too that self-love starts when you're trying to live someone else's timeline. That's just what we said, I don't know, maybe a few weeks ago about comparison, how you cannot live somebody else's blueprint. Self-love is the same exact thing because when it comes to confidence, you compare. When it comes to self-praise, you compare. And that's not how we need to look at it. Self-love starts when you stop trying to live someone else's timeline. Stop trying to be like other people because they don't want to be like you. Again, you're you. You need to embrace you. Embrace your uniqueness because you are here for a reason and you're this way for a reason. And you have to embrace that. All right? Now we go on to number two. Write yourself the apology you never got. You have to literally sit down and write to yourself, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for neglecting you. I'm sorry for, accepting love or accepting these things that I should never accept it. That's diminishing my self-worth and the love that I have for myself. You need to write that for you because sometimes we're expecting people who hurt us, we're expecting them to say, oh shit, I'm sorry for hurting you. When we have to take accountability too for us allowing this person to even get that close to us to hurt us. So you need to apologize to yourself for even letting that happen. Okay? And I know it's tough, but you have to do it. And, well, I'm sorry. Let me say that again. You don't have to do anything. Okay? But when we're working on becoming the best version of ourselves, there are some things that are going to happen that makes you feel uncomfortable. But uncomfort means growth. Is uncomfort even a word? I don't think so. Maybe I should say with you not being comfortable, growth doesn't happen in comfort. I think that sounds better. Growth doesn't happen in comfort. So it may be uncomfortable for you to write yourself an apology letter, but you have to grow. So that's the thing that you have to do. Now, I want you to make sure that you read that letter out loud and I want you to say, I forgive you. You forgive yourself. That's what you call self-love. Number 3, speak your truth in rooms where you used to stay silent. Let me tell a personal story, okay? So, when I moved from Tampa to Houston, I basically got a promotion from work or whatever. And I remember being in Tampa and being scared to talk in a room with people who their position was higher than mine. And I used to be scared to talk in the room because I knew that, or I felt that I wasn't at their level, so I'm afraid. And then I realized they people just like you are. So if you're walking in a room with somebody or some people and you need to speak to them, that's okay. But you need to own that, because that's another form of self-love. Because you know that you are worthy enough and you love yourself enough to be able to get up and talk in front of people that you normally want to talk to, because you're strong. You're strong. And you can do that. And you love yourself so much to know that I know what rooms I'm supposed to be in. I know that even if I used to stay silent here, I know I can't stay silent here anymore, because now I'm working on how to love myself. And one of the steps on how to love myself is to speak my truth in the rooms that I used to stay silent in. And that's what you have to do. Now, you can start by saying, so just in case you kind of like, damn, what the fuck do I say? I want you to start by saying what you need, what you feel, and what matters to you, even if your voice shakes. Because now for me, I'm getting to my point of self-love in my life that I'm starting to tell people, you do not treat me like this, because I know what I deserve. And I love myself to know that I'm not going to allow you to treat me like this. And it's even like, I had a situation that happened a few weeks ago, and I literally had to tell, this person that, hey, I don't appreciate this. You know what I'm saying? I, want to be treated like everyone else. So if XYZ is happening, I don't deserve that. And it's not fair. I put in the work and I put in the time just like everybody else does. I want to make sure that I'm treated the same. And that's what I did. So even though, like, damn, I hope, they'll look at me and say, well, I hope they don't, their opinions don't change. I mean, who the fuck cares at this point? If I'm telling you exactly what I need and exactly what it is that hurt me or made me feel uncomfortable, and you have something to say about it, fuck you. That's all I gotta say. Fuck you. I was confident enough and I love myself enough to be able to speak up for myself, and that's something that you should appreciate. That's all. And that's period. Now, number 4, refuse to explain your growth to people committed to misunderstanding you. I'm going to say that again. Refuse to explain your growth to people committed to misunderstanding you. Now, look, self-love is knowing you and knowing that you don't have to keep justifying your peace or justify what the fuck you doing to better yourself. You don't have to keep telling people what the fuck you doing. They ain't none of their goddamn business. I'm telling you right now. If they cannot accept you well, it's not even just loving yourself. If they can accept the growth that you are experiencing and they say, oh, what the fuck you got going on? What the fuck, Bill? Whatever you want to say after that. But all I'm going to keep it at is just fuck them. Because at the end of the day, like we already talked about, people who are meant to be in your life, they will accept you in all forms of your life, no matter what it is. Okay, so if you have someone who is committed to misunderstanding you, you need to kick them out your fucking life. Bye-bye. See you later, alligator. Never in a wild crocodile. We're not going to see your ass no more. I want you to know, too, that it's okay, like we talked about already. When it comes to people committing to misunderstanding you, at that point and at any point, it's okay to outgrow people. And it's okay to outgrow places. Because why would you want to be with someone who would not even accept the new person that you're becoming? If somebody wants you to stay down with them, you need to get them the fuck out your life. You need to get out their life one. Blocko. Later. See ya. Never again. If someone wants you to stay where you are, they're not the people for you. They're not in the area that, you know what I'm saying? Not saying that they never will be, but when it comes to you actually bettering yourself and they want you to stay the person that you are, they're not for you. And that's something that you need to understand. Because if they can't accept the new person of you, and if they can't accept you actually working on becoming the best version of yourself, why the fuck are they there? You holding me back and I don't need that. Okay? Number 5, and this is my favorite one, create a what I need list. What you mean? What you talking about? You need to create a list of things that you need. Let me just say, this is what you should ask yourself when you are creating the list of what you need. What do I need in order to feel seen, safe, and supported? And you have to commit to you giving yourself that. That's what you have to commit to. If you need those things, you need to commit to that for yourself and not depend on anyone else to do that for you. because that's self-love. You committed to do things for you to feel safe, seen, supported. You need to commit to doing that. Stop looking for that in other people. Because like I said, it'll last for a little bit, it'll feel good for a little bit, but when you're doing stuff for other people and other people are doing shit for you, it don't last and it doesn't hold value. So let's make sure that we're focused on that. Now, I'm going to say them again. These are the 5 ways on how we start loving ourselves. Number 1, unfollow your shoulds. 2, write yourself the apology you never got. 3, speak your truths in room where you used to stay silent. 4, refuse to explain your growth to people committed to misunderstanding you. 5, create a what I need list. Now look, you already know what it is. This is your feel good stage, so get your ass in the motherfucking bus. Right now, you should feel good. You should feel good that you're learning how to love yourself boldly and unapologetically and not giving a fuck what somebody else got to say about it. That should make you feel good. Because if you don't love yourself, how you expecting yourself to love somebody else? If you don't care for yourself, how you expecting yourself to care for somebody else? Explain that to me. You can't. Because you can't do something if you do not give it to yourself first. And that's what I want to make sure that we are focusing on. Now, I know earlier we did discuss exactly, what self-love is, but I do want to make sure that you guys do have a desire. If you do not have a desire to love yourself, how are you going to expect to change that? You need to have the desire, have the urge to want to be better for yourself and love yourself to your full capacity. Okay? You already know what time it is. Grow and glow. Challenge. Grow and glow. Challenge. All right. So remember last week we talked about write a letter to yourself. Your old self, actually. So this week, this is what we're going to do. Every morning this week, I want you to stand in front of the mirror. We're going to call this challenge mirror talk. Every morning this week, I want you to stand in front of the mirror, look yourself in the eyes, and say one kind, loving truth about yourself. Now, for some of us, it may be harder said than done, but you can do it. And I want you to, be honest with yourself, and be truthful. Because it can be as simple as, I love the way my hair looks. I love how kind I am. I love how loving I am. But I want you to make sure that you're honest with yourself. That's all I want you to do, man. That's it. And as we are wrapping things up and actually discussing exactly what self-love is and what we can do to love ourselves, I want you to know that self-love is important. Self-love is important to making sure that we're getting the love from others that we deserve. Because we can't expect someone to love us if we don't love us. We can't expect someone to love us how we need to be loved if we don't even love ourselves how we need to be loved. And I want to make sure that we all actually commit to that. Because at the end of the day, remember, our episode last week was saying we have to commit to being confident because that is a lifestyle. It's going to be the same thing with self-love. You have to commit to loving yourself. And that's the same thing that goes with desire. You have to desire. If you don't have a desire for that, how do you expect this shit to fucking be good or work? You cannot. Okay? Now look, we talked about some good things today, y'all. And they went by so quick, so fast. But please start yourself. That is our series for this month. We're talking about self-love and self-worth because those two go hand in hand. We just built our most confident self. Now we have to know that we are worthy to be confident and we love this confident person. So now we're at a triangle. All right. And confidence is at the top because that's what we want to be. And that's how we're going to become the best version of ourselves. Now, I want you to know that you are already worthy of love and you should be your own champion for that. You need to tell yourself. And even let's go a step further in the mirror, as you're saying that one kind love and truth to yourself, you need to tell yourself you are worthy of love already. You don't need to change yourself. You don't need to become somebody else in order to be loved. You are great just how you are. And you have to make sure that you're accepting that. All right. And I know it is hard, but that's why we're working through it. And we have to work through it. Remember, this is your safe space. I am available to you whenever you need me. Remember, we're on TikTok every day. Doing right now, we're just doing been doing a lot of cooking. So if you want to look at cooking stuff on TikTok, just giving you guys the opportunity to go into my life and see what I like to do and see what makes me happy and doing things with my Pookie and all the stuff like that. And just doing day in the life and everything like that. Also too, I want to let y'all know next week I am going to be MIA next week. So as some of you guys know, I do stay in Houston, but my family actually stays in Georgia. So we're actually taking a trip to Nashville, Tennessee. Yeehaw, Cowboys! So we'll be in Nashville for a few days. So I'll be spending time with my family, making sure that I am being present with them. I actually haven't been back home since November. That was Thanksgiving. So I don't know how many months that is, but it's almost a year. So it's about time to go chill and hang out with them for a little. So next week I'll skip the pod next week. But make sure you guys check out TikTok. I'll be posting everything I'm doing on TikTok. And then the week after, so let me see what that Monday will be. Oh Lord, John, I still got the calendar from June. It's July. It's July. This pod is on right now. Today is July the 7th. And then I'm skipping the 14th, but I will resume on the 21st. And then on the 21st, actually, we will skip talking about self-love. We'll take a day off. And I'll actually talk about my experience in Nashville, what we did, some recommendations that I had and have, and all those good things like that. So you already know who it is. It's Coach Faith here with another week, another glow up. Thank you so much for letting me be your guide, and I will see you guys next week. Ciao.